Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing awesome today, because we've got something really special lined up. We're going deep into the incredible world of Warhammer 40k and exploring the vast and fascinating array of Space Marine chapters. Their story begins with the first founding, back in the late 30th millennium, when the Emperor used the gene seed of his legendary Primarchs to create the original Space Marine legions. Over time, more foundings took place, expanding the ranks of the Space Marines and giving rise to countless chapters, each with its own identity and purpose. But none of this would matter without the Horus Heresy, the massive civil war that shook the Imperium to its core. When half the Primarchs betrayed the Emperor, it nearly led to humanity's downfall. Ever since, the loyal Space Marine chapters have fought to hold the line, carrying the burden of that betrayal and facing off against some of the deadliest threats in the galaxy, from xenos hordes to the twisted forces of chaos. Now, let's get into some of these fascinating chapters with today's fresh video. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. Now, this is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Ultramarines. Let's start with the Ultramarines. They're often viewed as the ideal Space Marine chapter, founded by the legendary Primarch Gillman. They're deeply tied to the Codex Astartes, the sacred tome that dictates the organizational and tactical structure of all Space Marine chapters. Their homeworld, Macragge, is a bastion of Imperial strength, reflecting the Ultramarines' ideals of discipline and honor. In terms of equipment, Ultramarines utilize standard Space Marine weapons, including bolters, chainswords, and power armor. However, their adherence to the Codex allows them to maximize the potential of these tools through rigorous training and organization. On the battlefield, Ultramarines employ a balanced strategy, capable of both defensive and offensive operations with surgical precision. The lore of the Ultramarines is filled with tales of Gillman's wisdom and their role in pivotal battles, particularly during the Horus Heresy. Their mythology is centered on Gillman's miraculous return to life in the current timeline, cementing their place as the Emperor's chosen warriors in the Imperium's darkest hour.
Does your arm yet grow weary of carrying that thing?
Never, my captain.
Blood Angels. All right now, the Blood Angels are led by their noble Primarch Sanguinius. They're known for their tragic beauty and deadly combat prowess. Sanguinius was one of the most beloved of the Emperor's sons, but his death during the Horus Heresy left a lasting impact on his chapter. Blood Angels are cursed with the Red Thirst and the Black Rage, afflictions that make them prone to bloodlust and madness in battle. Equipped with ornate and highly stylized power armor, Blood Angels favor close-quarters combat, utilizing weapons like power swords and chainswords. Their jump pack-equipped assault squads specialize in rapid, devastating strikes, taking full advantage of their speed and ferocity. Blood Angels' tactics focus on overwhelming the enemy with powerful melee assaults before they have time to react. The mythology of the Blood Angels is heavily influenced by their tragic nature. Despite their curse, they're driven by the legacy of Sanguinius, seeking redemption and the ability to overcome their genetic flaws. Their ongoing battle with the Black Rage has become a symbol of their resilience in the face of adversity. Dark Angels. Up next is Dark Angels, and they're the first of the Emperor's Space Marine legions, shrouded in mystery and secrecy. Founded by the brooding Primarch Lion L. Johnson, their homeworld of Caliban was destroyed during the Horus Heresy, leaving a scar on the chapter's history. Their primary mission is to hunt down the fallen, traitor Dark Angels who turned against the Imperium during the Heresy. In terms of weaponry, Dark Angels favor plasma weapons and their elite Deathwing Terminators. Their equipment is marked by a Gothic aesthetic, often adorned with iconography that reflects their somber heritage. Dark Angels excel in tactics that focus on overwhelming the enemy through combined arms and relentless pursuit, ensuring that no traitor escapes their justice. The lore of the Dark Angels is rich with themes of redemption and secrecy. They operate with a single-minded focus on erasing the stain of the fallen from their chapter's history. Legends speak of the mysterious disappearance of their Primarch and their continuous search for absolution through the destruction of their enemies. Space Wolves. Now, let's explore the Space Wolves, who are known for their savage and unorthodox methods of warfare. Led by their fierce Primarch Leman Russ, they hail from the icy world of Fenris, a planet as brutal as the warriors it produces. The Space Wolves are unique in their rejection of the rigid Codex Astartes, favoring a more feral approach to combat. Space Wolves are equipped with distinctive rune-covered power armor, and their weapons often include frost axes, lightning claws, and wolf claws, which are perfect for tearing through enemies in close combat. Their tactics revolve around around hit-and-run assaults, leveraging their wolf-like instincts to take down enemies with precision and brutality. The Space Wolves have a rich mythology that reflects their barbaric and primal nature. They revere the Emperor as the All-Father and believe in a warrior's death, embracing their fate with stoic acceptance. The legend of Lemon Russ, who disappeared into the Eye of Terror, continues to inspire Space Wolves in their eternal quest to hunt the enemies of the Imperium. Grey Knights. They are an elite secretive chapter formed to fight against the demonic forces of chaos. Created in the shadows of the Horus Heresy, the Grey Knights are led by the Supreme Grand Master and are based on the moon of Titan. What sets them apart from other Space Marine chapters is that every Grey Knight is a Psyker, and they're armed with powerful psychic abilities to combat their enemies. Grey Knights are equipped with advanced Nemesis Force weapons, Storm Bolters, and Terminator armor, all designed to maximize their efficiency against the demonic. Their tactics rely heavily on teleportation strikes, allowing them to appear where they're needed most and unleash devastating psychic and physical attacks. In terms of lore, the Grey Knights are unique because their very existence is hidden from the majority of the Imperium. Only the most trusted Imperial officials are aware of their role in fighting the forces of chaos. Legends claim that the Grey Knights have never had a single member turn to chaos, a remarkable feat considering the dangers they face. Black Templars. Next in line, we have the Black Templars, who are a zealous crusading chapter founded during the second founding after the Horus Heresy. Their founder Sigismund was one of Rogal Dorn's most trusted warriors. Black Templars are unique in that they don't abide by the Codex Astartes limits on chapter size, often numbering far more than the standard 1,000 Marines. Their equipment is characterized by black armor with white trim, often adorned with purity seals and chains. They favor close combat weapons like power swords, thunder hammers, and combat shields. Black Templars' tactics are aggressive, focusing on charging into melee combat and overpowering their enemies through sheer faith and zealotry. The chapter's lore is deeply tied to their eternal crusade against heresy. They see themselves as the Emperor's sword, purging the galaxy of corruption in his name. Black Templars operate in fleets, always on the move, and their crusading nature gives them a fanatical edge in battle, believing that they fight in the Emperor's divine light. Imperial Fists. Founded by the stalwart Primarch Rogal Dorn, the Imperial Fists are renowned for their mastery in siege warfare and defense. Dorn's legacy is one of unbreakable resolve, and this is reflected in his chapter. Known for their role in defending the Emperor's palace during the Horus Heresy, the Imperial Fists have become synonymous with loyalty, sacrifice, and indomitable fortitude. Their fortress monastery is located on Terra, making them one of the most trusted protectors of the Imperial Palace. Their equipment is tailored for siege combat and defensive engagements. Imperial Fists are expert with bolters, las cannons, and a variety of heavy weapons. Their power armor, often painted in bright yellow, symbolizes their vigilance and willingness to stand firm. Additionally, they make frequent use of power fists and heavy bolters, tools perfectly suited for close-quarters combat during sieges. Imperial Fists employ a defensive strategy on the battlefield, excelling in fortifications and attrition warfare. Their endurance makes them nearly impossible to dislodge once they've taken a position. Their mythology is rooted in Dorn's teachings of sacrifice and steadfastness, with many legends emphasizing their unyielding loyalty to the Emperor and their pivotal role in many of the Imperium's greatest battles. Raven Guard. Led by their enigmatic Primarch Corvus Corax, the Raven Guard are masters of stealth and guerrilla warfare. After suffering devastating losses during the Horus Heresy, the Raven Guard rebuilt their strength and evolved into one of the most secretive and tactically proficient chapters. Their homeworld, Deliverance, serves as both a fortress and a symbol of their resilience. The Raven Guard's equipment is optimized for hit-and-run tactics. They often utilize jump packs, camo cloaks, and specialized bolters. Their armor, painted in dark, muted colors, enhances their ability to blend into the shadows and strike with deathly precision. In addition, they favor lightning claws and close combat weapons for quick, brutal engagements. Tactically, the Raven Guard employ guerrilla warfare, using ambushes and infiltration to harry the enemy. They rarely engage in direct, large-scale battles, preferring to weaken their foes through precise strikes. Their lore is filled with stories of covert operations, and their Primarch Corax is often depicted as a tragic figure, haunted by the losses of the heresy but committed to ensuring the survival of his chapter and the Imperium. White Scars. Founded by the fierce Primarch Jagatai Khan, the White Scars are a chapter defined by speed and ferocity. They hail from the harsh steppes of the planet Chogoris, and their combat style is deeply influenced by the nomadic tribes of their homeworld. The White Scars value honor and freedom, and they're known for their rapid, mobile warfare tactics, often compared to the windswept cavalry charges of ancient times. White Scars are equipped with power armor modified for speed, and they make heavy use of bikes, attack speeders, and other fast-moving vehicles. Their favored weapons include include power swords, lances, and plasma weapons, which allow them to strike with lethal precision while maintaining high mobility. They employ lightning-fast hit-and-run tactics on the battlefield, using their bikes to outflank and surround the enemy before delivering devastating charges. Their lore is filled with tales of swift victories and cunning maneuvers, with Jagatai Khan himself being remembered as a master tactician who disappeared mysteriously into the webway, leaving behind a legacy of unmatched speed and ferocity in warfare. Iron Hands. Led by their Primarch, Ferrus Manus, the Iron Hands are a chapter that values strength and resilience above all else. Their homeworld, Medusa, is a harsh and unforgiving planet, much like the Iron Hands themselves. After their Primarch's death during the Horus Heresy, the chapter became obsessed with the idea that flesh is weak, and they embraced extensive cybernetic augmentation to overcome their perceived vulnerabilities. Iron Hands are equipped with advanced bionic enhancements and heavily modified power armor. Their weapons include plasma guns, las cannons, and other heavy ordnance, as well as servo arms and power fists that complement their mechanical combat style. Their tactics revolve around overwhelming firepower and brute strength, with a preference for heavy vehicles and dreadnoughts. Iron Hands excel in long-range combat, using their bionics to enhance their precision and durability. Oh, and they're haunted by the loss of Ferrus Manus, and their quest for perfection through machine augmentation has become a defining feature of their identity. Death Watch. And now we turn to the Death Watch, that is a unique chapter composed of Space Marines from various chapters, chosen for their expertise in fighting alien threats. The Death Watch operates as the militant arm of the Ordo Xenos, a branch of the Inquisition dedicated to combating the myriad alien races that threaten the Imperium. They're stationed in watch fortresses scattered across the galaxy, always ready to deploy against any Xenos incursion. Each member of the Death Watch brings with them their own chapter's specialized equipment, but the chapter as a whole is equipped with unique war gear, such as the Marcade Errant power armor, customized bolters, and xenophase blades designed to counter alien biology. Coming to the tactics, the Death Watch excels at small-scale, high-stakes operations, often working in kill teams that are tailor-made for specific missions. They're experts in ambushes, reconnaissance, and targeted strikes, making them a deadly force against alien threats. Their mythology revolves around their secretive nature and their unyielding mission to protect the Imperium from Xenos, with many tales of their heroic, if often unrecorded, deeds in the darkest corners of the galaxy. Minotaurs. They are a fiercely independent and brutal chapter, known for their unrelenting nature in combat. Their origins are shrouded in mystery, but it's believed they were created during one of the later foundings. The Minotaurs are known for their hostility towards other Space Marine chapters, but their loyalty to the High Lords of Terror is unquestionable. They use heavily reinforced power armor, often adorned with bronze and bull motifs. They favor close combat weapons like power axes and chainswords, and they're known for their overwhelming use of dreadnoughts in battle. The Minotaurs' tactics are direct and brutal, focusing on overwhelming their enemies with sheer force. They're often employed in siege warfare, where their relentless assaults can break through even the most fortified positions. Their mythology is steeped in tales of conquest and dominance, with the Minotaurs often acting as enforcers for the High Lords, quelling rebellion and bringing rogue elements of the Imperium to heel.
Brother Sakan of Squad Varlock, Salamander's third battle.
Salamanders. Hailing from the volcanic world of Nocturne, the Salamanders are one of the most compassionate and human-focused chapters in the Imperium. Founded by the noble Primarch Vulcan, the Salamanders are known for their affinity with fire and their expertise in crafting. Vulcan himself was a master blacksmith, and this legacy has shaped the chapter's approach to war. Salamanders are equipped with highly customized power armor and weapons, often incorporating flame-based technology such as flamers and melter weapons. On the battlefield, Salamanders use their superior craftsmanship and heavy weapons to engage enemies at medium to close range. Their tactics often involve the use of fire to purge the enemy, and they're well known for their resilience. Salamander's mythology is centered around their belief that Vulcan will one day return to lead them, and they're dedicated to protecting the people of the Imperium, often going to great lengths to minimize civilian casualties. Caradons, also known as the Space Sharks. The Caradons are a mysterious and nomadic chapter of Space Marines. Their origins are shrouded in secrecy, but they're believed to have been formed during one of the earlier foundings. The Caradons are known for their brutality and efficiency in battle, often appearing from the depths of space to unleash devastating assaults on their enemies before vanishing once more. Their equipment is similar to that of other Space Marine chapters, but with a focus on close combat weaponry. Chainswords, power axes, and lightning claws are common in their ranks, and their power armor is often painted in shades of grey and black, resembling the ocean predators they're named after. The Karadon's tactics revolve around shock assaults and hit-and-run tactics. Similar to the hunting patterns of sharks, they prefer to engage their enemies at close range, tearing through enemy lines with vicious efficiency. In terms of lore, the Karadons are feared throughout the Imperium for their savage nature, and there are many legends about their mysterious origins and their role as enforcers of the Imperium's will in the farthest reaches of space. Red Scorpions. The Red Scorpions are a chapter known for their rigid adherence to Imperial doctrine and their obsession with genetic purity. Founded during one of the later foundings, the Red Scorpions are fanatically loyal to the Emperor and the Imperium, often refusing to fight alongside those they deem genetically impure or ideologically corrupt. In terms of equipment, Red Scorpions are outfitted with some of the finest war gear available to any chapter. Their power armor is painted in black and yellow, and they're known for their use of specialized bolters, plasma weapons, and heavy weaponry. Their combat style is disciplined and methodical, with a focus on precision and overwhelming firepower. The Red Scorpions' tactics involve strict adherence to the Codex Astartes, making them highly organized and efficient in battle. They're known for their ability to hold the line and their expertise in siege warfare. The chapter's lore is steeped in their unyielding belief in the purity of the Emperor's design, and their mythology often portrays them as the ultimate defenders of Imperial law and order, even if it leads them into conflict with other loyalist forces. Astral Claws. Next in line, we have the Astral Claws. They were once a proud and noble chapter, known for their fierce loyalty to the Imperium. Founded during the 35th Millennium, they served the Imperium faithfully for centuries. However, their downfall came when their chapter master Luft Huron rebelled against the Imperium and led the chapter into heresy. This rebellion, known as the Badab War, marked the Astral Claws' transformation into the renegade Red Corsairs. The Astral Claws initially used standard Space Marine war gear, including bolters, power armor, and heavy weapons. However, as they turned to piracy and raiding, they began to use more scavenged and modified equipment. Their tactics evolved from disciplined battlefield maneuvers to hit-and-run raids, looting Imperial worlds and ships to sustain their rebellion. The mythology of the Astral Claws is now one of betrayal and corruption. Once a symbol of Imperial loyalty, they're now remembered for their treachery and the bloody conflict they caused during the Badab War. Their chapter master Huron became the infamous Huron Blackheart, a warlord of the Chaos Forces. Brazen Claws. They are a lesser-known chapter with a long and storied history. Like many chapters, they were founded in the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, during one of the later foundings. The Brazen Claws are known for their resilience and their ability to adapt to difficult battlefield conditions, often deploying to war zones where attrition and endurance are key to victory. In terms of equipment, the Brazen Claws make use of standard Space Marine power armor and weaponry, but they're known for their affinity with vehicles and heavy armor. Predators, rhinos, and land raiders are often deployed alongside their infantry, providing the chapter with significant mobility and firepower. Tactically, the Brazen Claws excel in siege warfare and attritional battles, where their ability to outlast and outmaneuver their enemies comes into play. Their lore is one of determination and survival, with many tales of the Brazen Claws holding the line against overwhelming odds, refusing to break even in the face of certain death. Crimson Fists. Now we're going to talk about a chapter known for their heroism and resilience, particularly during the war for Rin's world, where they faced near annihilation. Founded from the Imperial Fists, the Crimson Fists have inherited their parent chapter's skill in siege warfare and defense. Their chapter master, Pedro Cantor, is a renowned leader, known for his tactical brilliance and unwavering resolve. Crimson Fists are equipped with standard Space Marine war gear, including bolters, power armor, and a wide range of heavy weapons. Their armor is painted in deep blue with Crimson Fists symbolizing their loyalty and honor. They often rely on a combination of long-range firepower and close-quarters combat, making them versatile on the battlefield. Their tactics focus on holding strategic positions and using overwhelming firepower to wear down the enemy. The Crimson Fists lore is filled with stories of their bravery and tenacity, particularly during the defense of Rin's world, where they fought to the last man to protect their home. The chapter's mythology paints them as survivors, always rising from the ashes of destruction to continue their fight for the Imperium. Blood Ravens. Next in line, we have the Blood Ravens, and they're a chapter shrouded in mystery, particularly concerning their origins. They are one of the chapters that have no known Primarch, and their gene seed is believed to have been altered or corrupted over time. The Blood Ravens are renowned for their pursuit of knowledge, often scavenging ancient artifacts and relics, leading some to suspect a link to the Thousand Sons, a traitor legion known for its obsession with forbidden knowledge. Blood Ravens are equipped with standard Space Marine war gear, including bolters and power armor. However, they place a strong emphasis on psychic abilities, and many of their leaders are powerful librarians who wield the warp to devastating effect in battle. Tactically, the Blood Ravens favor precision strikes, often targeting key enemy assets to cripple their foes before delivering the killing blow. Their lore is rich with tales of their relentless quest for knowledge, often at the expense of other Imperial forces. The chapter's mythology is tied to their mysterious origins and their unorthodox methods, which have led them to both great victories and dark suspicions. Souldrinkers. Guess the chapter with tragic history and have fallen from the Emperor's grace due to their pursuit of independence and their eventual corruption? That's right, we're talking about Souldrinkers. Originally founded during the Second Founding, the Souldrinkers were once a loyal chapter of the Imperium, known for their unorthodox tactics and fierce combat style. However, their rebellion against the Imperium led them down a dark path, ultimately resulting in their fall to chaos. The Souldrinkers used standard Space Marine war gear, but as they became more corrupted, their weapons and armor took on a more chaotic appearance, reflecting their fall from grace. They favored close quarters combat, using power fists, chainswords, and bolters to engage the enemy at point-blank range. The Souldrinkers' tactics were often unpredictable, as they employed unorthodox strategies that confused and disoriented their enemies. The chapter's lore is one of betrayal and tragedy, with their fall serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of pride and the temptation of chaos. Despite their fall, some within the chapter still believe they fight for the Emperor, making their story even more tragic. Flesh Tearers. The Flesh Tearers are a successor chapter of the Blood Angels, notorious for their brutal and uncontrollable nature. Founded during the Second Founding, they suffer from the same genetic flaws as their parent chapter, the Red Thirst and the Black Rage. These conditions often push the Flesh Tearers into a berserk frenzy during battle, making them feared even by their allies. Their chapter master, Gabriel Seth, is a ruthless leader who struggles to keep the chapter from completely succumbing to their dark impulses. In terms of equipment, the Flesh Tearers utilize standard Space Marine war gear, with a preference for chainswords, power fists, and other close combat weapons. Their power armor is painted a dark red, reflecting their bloodthirsty nature. On the battlefield, the Flesh Tearers are known for their reckless and violent charges into enemy lines, often at great personal cost. Their tactics focus on overwhelming their foes with sheer ferocity, with little regard for strategy or self-preservation. The chapter's lore is tied to their ongoing battle against their own genetic flaws, with legends of their near collapse and their constant fight to maintain their place within the Imperium. Scythes of the Emperor. They are a chapter born from the gene seed of the Ultramarines. Known for their resilience and fortitude, they were nearly wiped out during the Tyranid invasion of Hive Fleet Kraken. The chapter's homeworld, Sotha, was completely destroyed, and the Scythes of the Emperor were reduced to a mere handful of survivors. Despite their near annihilation, they fought valiantly to rebuild their chapter and continue to serve the Imperium. They utilize the typical gear of Space Marines, though the Scythes have developed a particular expertise in combating xenos, especially Tyranids. They favor bolters, flamers, and other weapons effective against swarming enemies. The Scythes of the Emperor specialize in defensive tactics, often forming strongholds and resisting even the most overwhelming odds. Their mythology is centered on survival and sacrifice, with many legends focusing on their heroic last stands and their determination to rebuild after the fall of Sotha. They are a symbol of endurance in the face of overwhelming adversity. Angels Sanguine. Let's take a look at the Angels Sanguine, who are a Blood Angel successor chapter, distinguished by their extreme secrecy and their strange habit of concealing their faces even from fellow Space Marines. Their genetic heritage ties them to the Blood Angels' curse of the Red Thirst and Black Rage, conditions that push them to uncontrollable bouts of bloodlust. Unlike other Blood Angel successors, the Angels Sanguine hide this flaw behind their mysterious demeanor. The equipment includes standard Space Marine weaponry, but they emphasize close combat fighting, favoring weapons like power swords, chainswords, and lightning claws. Their armor is a deep crimson red, symbolizing their connection to blood and the legacy of their Primarch, Sanguinius. In battle, the Angels Sanguine are known for their sudden and ferocious assaults. Their tactics revolve around rapid shock attacks, often catching the enemy off guard with their speed and brutality. Their lore is shrouded in secrecy, and many legends speculate that their red thirst may be far worse than other Blood Angel successors, driving their need for isolation and concealment. Angels of Absolution. Next, we have the Angels of Absolution. They are a successor chapter of the Dark Angels, sharing their parent chapter's dedication to hunting down the Fallen, the traitors who betrayed the Imperium during the Horus Heresy. However, unlike the Dark Angels, the Angels of Absolution believe they've already atoned for their sins, allowing them to fight without the same burden of guilt that plagues their brethren. Their equipment is very similar to that of the Dark Angels, with a focus on plasma weaponry, heavy bolters, and power swords. The Angels of Absolution also make make use of their elite Deathwing Terminators, who are known for their devastating combat skills. Their armor is bone white, symbolizing their belief in their own redemption. Tactically, the Angels of Absolution favor overwhelming force, combining their infantry, armor, and air support to crush their enemies. Their lore sets them apart from other Dark Angel successors by their confidence in their own purity, and they're often seen as more open and less secretive than their parent chapter. Legends speak of their relentless pursuit of justice and their unshakable faith in their absolution. Legion of the Damned. This is one of the most enigmatic chapters in the Imperium, appearing out of nowhere to aid loyalist forces in their darkest hours. Believed to be the remnants of a cursed chapter, the Legion is a spectral force that materializes without warning, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. Their origins are unknown, but they're thought to be linked to some warp anomaly or dark curse. Their equipment appears to be standard Space Marine war gear, but it's blackened and cracked, with ghostly flames licking the edges of their armor. They wield bolters, flamers, and melter weapons, but these seem imbued with some supernatural power, adding to their terrifying presence. On the battlefield, the Legion of the Damned is an unstoppable force. They teleport into battle at critical moments, delivering devastating firepower before vanishing just as quickly. The chapter's mythology is filled with stories of their ghostly nature, and they're often seen as harbingers of doom, arriving to save the Imperium's forces when all hope seems lost. Executioners. Now moving on to the Executioners, who are a successor chapter of the Imperial Fists, known for their brutal methods and adherence to their own code of honor. Founded during the Second Founding, the Executioners are feared across the galaxy for their savage approach to warfare. They're infamous for their use of decapitation in battle, earning them their grim name. Their equipment is similar to other Space Marine chapters, but they favor axes and other decapitating weapons in close combat. Their power armor is often adorned with trophies taken from their enemies, adding to their fearsome reputation. In terms of tactics, the Executioners excel in close quarters combat, preferring to engage their enemies in brutal melees where they can decapitate their foes. Their lore is steeped in stories of their harsh sense of justice and their willingness to duel both enemies and allies to settle disputes. The Executioners' mythology paints them as noble savages, warriors who believe in honor but are not afraid to get their hands dirty. Black Dragons. The Black Dragons are a chapter afflicted by severe genetic mutations, which cause bony protrusions to grow from their forearms and heads. These mutations, instead of being a hindrance, have been turned into a strength. The Black Dragons sharpen these bones into deadly blades, turning their bodies into lethal weapons. The origins of their gene seed are mysterious, but they're believed to be a later founding chapter. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, but many Black Dragons prefer to use their mutated bone growths in close combat rather than traditional weapons. Their power armor is jet black, and their appearance often evokes fear and awe on the battlefield. The Black Dragons specialize in shock tactics, using their mutated forms to cut through enemy ranks with brutal efficiency. Their lore revolves around their ability to adapt to their mutations and use them to their advantage, making them one of the most unique and feared chapters in the Imperium. Despite their mutations, the Black Dragons remain loyal to the Emperor and fight fiercely to prove their worth. Red Talons. Now let's take a closer look at the Red Talons, who are a successor chapter of the Iron Hands, and like their parent chapter, they believe that the flesh is weak and that only through mechanization can a warrior achieve true strength. The Red Talons take this belief to an extreme, with many of their warriors having undergone extensive cybernetic augmentation. Their ruthless machine-like nature has earned them a reputation for being cold and calculating in battle. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, but they favor heavy weapons and bionic enhancements. Many Red Talons are more machine than man, with extensive cybernetic augmentation that enhance their combat abilities. On the battlefield, the Red Talons excel in long-range firepower and methodical assaults, preferring to outgun their enemies rather than engage in close combat. Their lore is tied to their relentless pursuit of perfection through technology, and they're often seen as emotionless, logical warriors who see warfare as a precise calculation. Their cold demeanor makes them effective but feared allies. Angels of Vengeance. Formed during the Second Founding, the Angels of Vengeance are a successor chapter of the Dark Angels. Known for their intense dedication to hunting the fallen, the Angels of Vengeance are relentless in their pursuit of traitors, often willing to go to extreme lengths to achieve their goals. Like their parent chapter, they're secretive and enigmatic, and they never reveal the full extent of their plans to outsiders. Their equipment is standard for Space Marines, though. They prefer plasma weaponry and heavy bolters. The Angels of Vengeance also make use of their elite Deathwing Terminators, fighters who were deployed in critical moments to tip the balance in battle. Their power armor is painted black and red, symbolizing their unyielding resolve and their thirst for retribution. The Angels of Vengeance are known for their stubbornness and refusal to retreat, even when heavily outnumbered. Their lore centers around their zealous pursuit of the fallen, and legends speak of their single-minded dedication to bringing these traitors to justice. They're feared both by their enemies and sometimes by their allies, as their desire for vengeance often clouds their judgment. Death Eagles. These are a mysterious chapter with little known about their origins or founding. Their grim reputation comes from their fearlessness in battle, often throwing themselves into the most dangerous and unwinnable fights without hesitation. The Death Eagles are known for their fatalistic worldview, and many of their battle cries invoke death as a companion rather than a fate to be feared. Their equipment is standard Space Marine war gear, including bolters, power swords, and heavy weapons. However, their most distinctive feature is their skull-adorned helmets, which give them a deathly appearance on the battlefield. The Death Eagles are shock troops, known for their unrelenting charges and their refusal to fall back, no matter the odds. Their lore paints them as warriors who embrace death in service to the Emperor, believing that there's no greater honor than dying in battle for the Imperium. Legends tell of their heroic last stands and their willingness to sacrifice everything for victory, making them one of the most respected, if grim, chapters in the Imperium. Firehawks. Known for their fiery temperament and aggressive tactics, the Firehawks are a chapter that formed during the 36th Millennium. The Firehawks became renowned for their relentless pursuit of enemies and their preference for striking first and hard. However, they're most famous for their mysterious disappearance in the warp during a routine mission in M36. It's speculated that the Firehawks were transformed into the Legion of the Damned after their encounter with the warp, though this remains unconfirmed. Before their disappearance, the Firehawks were equipped with standard Space Marine war gear, favoring flamers and melter weapons to burn their enemies to ash. Their power armor was adorned with flame motifs, reflecting their preference to fire-based weaponry. In battle, the Firehawks employed shock and awe tactics, using overwhelming firepower to quickly annihilate their enemies. Their lore is filled with tales of their fearsome combat prowess and their sudden disappearance, which has only added to their mystique. Many in the Imperium now view them as tragic figures, lost to the warp but still serving in some unknown capacity. Iron Snakes. The Iron Snakes are a proud and honorable chapter hailing from the oceanic world of Ithaca. Founded during the 21st founding, the Iron Snakes are deeply rooted in the culture and traditions of their homeworld, drawing much of their identity from Ithaca's ancient warrior codes. They're known for their strong sense of brotherhood and their willingness to fight in the most dangerous and isolated regions of the galaxy. The Iron Snakes are equipped with standard Space Marine gear, but they're particularly known for their use of spears, a nod to their ancient traditions. Their power armor is adorned with snake-like motifs, symbolizing their connection to the serpents of their homeworld. The Iron Snakes prefer direct and honorable engagements, often forming tight phalanxes to face their enemies head-on. Their lore is filled with tales of individual heroism and honor, with many stories highlighting their refusal to retreat no matter the odds. The Iron Snakes are seen as one of the most honorable chapters, always upholding the values of brotherhood and loyalty to the Imperium. Black Guard. This next one is a little-known chapter of Space Marines, often operating in the shadows of the Imperium. Formed during one of the later foundings, the Black Guard has earned a reputation for their ruthless efficiency and their willingness to undertake the most dangerous missions, often at great cost to themselves. The Black Guard is equipped with standard Space Marine gear, though they prefer close combat weapons such as power fists and chainswords. Their power armor is painted in a deep black, symbolizing their role as silent enforcers of the Emperor's will. Tactically, the Black Guards excel in clandestine operations, often conducting surgical strikes and assassinations to eliminate high-value targets. Their lore is one of sacrifice and duty, with many tales of their willingness to die in service of the Emperor, even if their actions go unnoticed. Legends of the Black Guard speak of their unswerving loyalty to the Imperium, and their ability to carry out the most dangerous of missions makes them an invaluable asset to the Emperor's forces. Mantis Warriors. Now we turn to the Mantis Warriors, a chapter with a long and controversial history. Formed during the 25th founding, the Mantis Warriors became infamous for their involvement in the Badab War, where they fought against the Imperium alongside the Astral Claws. After their defeat, the Mantis Warriors were forced to undergo a century-long penitent crusade to atone for their sins. In terms of equipment, the Mantis Warriors are outfitted with standard Space Marine war gear, but they're particularly known for their use of jump packs and lightning-fast strikes. Their power armor is a striking green, with mantis-like motifs adorning their gear. The chapter's tactics revolve around stealth and ambush, using hit-and-run tactics to disorient and cripple their enemies. Their lore is filled with stories of their fall from grace during the Badab War and their long road to redemption. The Mantis Warriors are now seen as tragic figures, still fighting to regain their honor and place within the Imperium. Aurora Chapter. The Aurora Chapter, formed during the second founding from the Ultramarines, is known for their disciplined and methodical approach to warfare. Their homeworld, Medusa 5, reflects their stoic and resilient nature, and they're particularly known for their mastery of armored warfare. The Aurora Chapter maintains one of the largest and most advanced armored divisions in the Adeptus Astartes, specializing in tank warfare. The Aurora Chapter is equipped with standard Space Marine war gear, but they place a significant emphasis on vehicles such as land raiders, predators, and rhinos. Their power armor is painted in dark green, symbolizing their connection to their homeworld and their resilience in battle. The Aurora Chapter excels in combined arms operation, using their vast armored resources to outmaneuver and crush their enemies. Their lore is tied to their close adherence to the Codex Astartes, and their battles often serve as examples of textbook Imperial strategy. The chapter is known for its calm, methodical nature, and their success in armored warfare has earned them a place of respect among the Imperium's forces. Raptors. As a successor chapter of the Raven Guard, Raptors are known for their pragmatic and stealth-oriented approach to warfare. Unlike many other chapters, the Raptors prefer to engage in long-range guerrilla-style combat, avoiding direct confrontations in favor of ambushes and hit-and-run tactics. This strategy has earned them a reputation as one of the most effective, if unconventional, chapters in the Imperium. The Raptors favor sniper rifles, bolters, and camo-cloaked armor that allows them to blend into their surroundings. Their power armor is painted in muted greens and browns, enhancing their ability to stay hidden on the battlefield. On the battlefield, the Raptors excel in tactical flexibility and mobility, often striking from a distance before disappearing into the shadows. Their lore reflects their pragmatic approach to warfare, with many stories emphasizing their focus on achieving victory with minimal casualties. Legends of the Raptors often highlight their ability to win battles without ever being seen, making them a highly effective but somewhat mysterious force. Storm Wardens. Known for their stoic and honorable nature, the Storm Wardens are often preferring to fight in isolated and remote regions of the galaxy. Formed during the 41st Millennium, the Storm Wardens have a rich warrior tradition, and their homeworld of Sacris is a place of fierce storms and dangerous terrain, which has shaped the chapter's resilience and combat prowess. The Storm Wardens are equipped with standard Space Marine war gear, but they're particularly known for their use of large power swords and thunder hammers, which they wield with exceptional skill. Their power armor is a deep blue, often adorned with symbols of storms and lightning. Storm Wardens are highly disciplined, favoring defensive strategies and counterattacks. They're known for their ability to hold the line against overwhelming odds, often acting as a bulwark against the enemies of the Imperium. Their lore is tied to their warrior traditions, and they're seen as honorable and steadfast defenders of the Imperium, with many stories of their heroic last stands against insurmountable odds. Angels and Carmin. Coming to the Angels and Carmin now. They are a Blood Angel successor chapter, known for their flamboyant and almost artistic approach to warfare. Like the Blood Angels, they're afflicted by the Red Thirst and the Black Rage, conditions that make them prone to uncontrollable bouts of bloodlust. However, the Angels and Carmin embrace these flaws, turning their battle rage into a brutal form of art. Their equipment is similar to other Blood Angel successor chapters, with a focus on close combat weapons such as power swords, chainswords, and jump packs for rapid assaults. Their power armor is painted in deep crimson, symbolizing their connection to blood and death. On the battlefield, Carmin are known for their ferocious charges, often throwing themselves into the thick of combat with reckless abandon. Their lore is centered around their belief that battle is a form of expression, and many legends speak of their beautifully choreographed but deadly assaults. Despite their flaws, the Angels and Carmin remain loyal to the Emperor, using their rage to carve a path to victory. Sons of Gillman. Now, they're one of the most direct successors to the Ultramarines, founded during the second founding. As their name suggests, they're fiercely dedicated to the teachings and legacy of their Primarch, Gillman. The chapter is known for its strict adherence to the Codex Astartes, the tactical guide created by Gillman to ensure the success and organization of Space Marine chapters throughout the Imperium. Now, about the equipment. The Sons of Gillman use the standard arsenal of Space Marine war gear, including bolters, plasma weapons, and power swords. Their power armor is painted in the traditional Ultramarines blue, with red accents that distinguish them as a unique chapter. On the battlefield, the Sons of Gillman emphasize precision, discipline, and adaptability. They're known for their ability to seamlessly transition between defensive and offensive tactics, making them a versatile and formidable force. Their lore is tied closely to their reverence for Gillman, and many legends speak of their unwavering loyalty to his teachings. As a result, they're often seen as paragons of the Codex Astartes, and their actions are frequently viewed as textbook examples of Imperial strategy. Angels of Retribution. Known for their stern and uncompromising nature, the Angels of Retribution are a successor chapter of the Dark Angels. Like their parent chapter, they're obsessed with hunting down the fallen, the traitors who turned against the Emperor during the Horus Heresy. The Angels of Retribution are particularly zealous in this pursuit, often launching punitive expeditions deep into enemy territory to capture or eliminate these heretics. Their arsenal matches the usual loadout of most Space Marine chapters, though they prefer plasma weapons and other heavy arms similar to the Dark Angels. Their power armor is painted a somber black, symbolizing their grim determination to bring justice to those who have wronged the Imperium. The Angels of Retribution are known for their aggressive tactics and willingness to pursue the enemies to the ends of the galaxy. Their lore is filled with stories of their relentless pursuit of the fallen, and their dedication to retribution has earned them a fearsome reputation. Legends often depict them as fanatical warriors who will stop at nothing to bring traitors to justice, even if it means facing impossible odds. Red Hunters. The Red Hunters are a chapter with a significant role in the Imperium, closely allied with the Inquisition, particularly the Ordo Hereticus and Ordo Malleus. They're often called upon for highly specialized missions involving the eradication of heretics, mutants, and demonic entities. The Red Hunters' deep ties to the Inquisition mean that they have access to classified intelligence and equipment, making them a potent tool in the fight against corruption within the Imperium. Their war gear is standard for Space Marines, though they frequently carry more specialized equipment provided by the Inquisition. Their power armor is painted crimson red, symbolizing their connection to the Inquisition and their mission of hunting down those who betray the Emperor. The Red Hunters excel in precision strikes and extermination missions. They're often deployed in small elite squads to eliminate specific targets or suppress demonic incursions. Their lore is steeped in their partnership with the Inquisition, and many stories highlight their willingness to carry out the most dangerous and morally ambiguous missions in service of the Imperium. They're seen as a chapter that operates in the shadows, doing whatever it takes to protect humanity. Angels of Redemption. The Angels of Redemption are another Dark Angel successor chapter, formed during the Second Founding. Like many of their brethren, they're tasked with hunting down the fallen, the traitorous Dark Angels who turned against the Emperor during the Horus Heresy. The Angels of Redemption are deeply committed to this mission, often showing a cold and calculating demeanor as they pursue their enemies. Their equipment is similar to that of other Dark Angel successors, with a focus on plasma weapons and power armor designed for close-quarters combat. Their armor is painted in bone white, symbolizing their belief in their own righteousness and their quest for absolution. The Angels of Redemption are methodical and precise, using their knowledge of the fallen to track them down and engage them in battle. Their lore is intertwined with their pursuit of redemption, as they believe that only by eliminating the fallen can they erase the strain of heresy from their chapter's history. Legends of the Angels of Redemption often depict them as relentless and uncompromising, willing to sacrifice everything to achieve their goals. Angels of Repentance. These ones are known for their extreme penance and self-flagellation, seeing their existence as a form of repentance for some unknown sin. Though their origins are unclear, it's believed that the Angels of Repentance are a successor chapter of the Dark Angels, given their shared obsession with atonement and their secrecy. They're equipped with the standard-issue Space Marine weaponry, though they often modify their power armor with chains and other symbols of penance. Their armor is painted in dark colors, reflecting their somber and repentant nature. In battle, the Angels of Repentance are known for their suicidal charges and willingness to suffer for the Emperor. They often throw themselves into hopeless battles, seeking redemption through their deaths in service to the Imperium. Their lore is filled with stories of sacrifice and martyrdom, with legends depicting them as warriors who believe that only through death can they atone for their sins. They're seen as tragic figures, forever seeking forgiveness for a crime that remains unknown to outsiders. Brazen Minotaurs. A lesser-known chapter, believed to have been founded during one of the later foundings, the Brazen Minotaurs are known for their fierce combat style and their willingness to take on the most dangerous and high-risk missions for the Imperium. Unlike many other chapters, the Brazen Minotaurs are fiercely independent, often operating far from the influence of other Imperial forces. Their weapons and armor are the typical fare for Space Marines, with a preference for close combat weapons like power swords and axes. Their power armor is painted in bronze and red, giving them a distinctive appearance on the battlefield. The Brazen Minotaurs are known for their aggressive tactics, often launching brutal frontal assaults that overwhelm their enemies. Their lore is filled with tales of their fierce independence and their willingness to fight against impossible odds. Many legends speak of the Brazen Minotaurs as warriors who thrive in the most dangerous situations, and they're often deployed to war zones where other chapters would refuse to go. Angels of Iron. Shrouded in mystery, with little known about their origins or their founding, they're often seen as a nomadic chapter, constantly moving from one war zone to another, never settling on a homeworld for long. This nomadic existence has made the Angels of Iron highly adaptable, capable of fighting in any environment and against any foe. Their weapons and armor are the typical fare for Space Marines, though they are known for their extensive use of heavy weapons and dreadnoughts. Their power armor is painted in dark iron and black, symbolizing their resilience and strength in the face of adversity. Tactically, the Angels of Iron prefer to overwhelm their enemies with sheer firepower, using their heavy weapons to obliterate enemy strong points before moving in to finish the job. Their lore is centered around their nomadic lifestyle, with many stories highlighting their ability to adapt to any battlefield condition. They're often seen as wanderers, warriors who bring destruction wherever they go in the Emperor's name. Excoriators. This chapter was born from the gene seed of the Imperial Fists, known for their grim and stoic nature. Like their parent chapter, the Excoriators value endurance and sacrifice, often taking on the most punishing and grueling battles without complaint. Their chapter master, Zachariah Kirsch, is renowned for his iron will and unbreakable resolve. They carry the usual gear you'd expect from any Space Marine chapter, with a preference for bolters and power fists. Their power armor is painted in dark grey, reflecting their somber demeanor and their belief in the necessity of suffering for victory. The Excoriators are known for their ability to withstand the most brutal conditions, often holding the line even when outnumbered or outgunned. Their lore is steeped in stories of self-sacrifice, with many tales of warriors who gave their lives to protect the Imperium. The Excoriators are seen as one of the most resilient chapters, willing to endure any hardship to achieve victory. Nemesis. The Nemesis chapter is an elusive and secretive force, rarely seen by outsiders. It's unclear when they were founded or what gene seed they descend from, but what is known is that the Nemesis chapter operates as a highly specialized strike force, dealing with threats that require precision and stealth rather than overwhelming force. They're often deployed to eliminate high-priority targets with ruthless efficiency. They make use of the routine Space Marine equipment, but they place a strong emphasis on stealth technology, using camo cloaks and silenced weaponry to carry out their mission. Their power armor is painted in muted tones, allowing them to blend into their surroundings. In battle, the Nemesis chapter operates with surgical precision, often engaging the enemy from the shadows before disappearing without a trace. Their lore is filled with stories of their covert operations, with many legends highlighting their ability to win wars before the enemy even realizes they've been attacked. The Nemesis chapter is one of the most secretive forces in the Imperium, operating in the shadows to protect humanity. Howling Griffins. Founded during the Second Founding, the Howling Griffins are descended from the Ultramarines and share their parent chapter's discipline and dedication to the Emperor. However, the Howling Griffins are particularly known for their willingness to act as shock troops, charging into battle with fearless determination. Their equipment is standard for Space Marines, with a preference for bolters, chainswords, and power swords. Their power armor is painted in a distinctive yellow and red, giving them a striking appearance on the battlefield. The Howling Griffins are known for their aggressive tactics, often launching frontal assaults to break through enemy lines. Their lore is filled with tales of their bravery and loyalty, with many legends highlighting their willingness to sacrifice everything for the Emperor. The Howling Griffins are seen as one of the most courageous chapters in the Imperium, often leading the charge in some of the most brutal battles. Nova Marines. The Nova Marines, a proud successor chapter of the Ultramarines, were formed during the Second Founding. They're renowned for their strict adherence to the Codex Astartes, following the tactical doctrines laid out by their Primarch Gillman to the letter. Based on the world of Honorum, the Nova Marines are known for their strong sense of duty and their unwavering loyalty to the Emperor. They're outfitted with the normal Space Marine armory, but the Nova Marines are particularly known for their disciplined use of bolter weaponry and heavy artillery. Their power armor is painted in a striking blue and white pattern, symbolizing their connection to their Ultramarine lineage. The Nova Marines excel in both defensive and offensive operations, using their Codex-compliant tactics to outmaneuver and outgun their enemies. Their lore is centered around their belief in the purity of Gilliman's teachings, with many legends portraying them as paragons of the Codex Astartes. The Nova Marines are seen as one of the most reliable and disciplined chapters in the Imperium, always following orders and executing missions with precision. Red Wolves. Founded from the gene seed of the Space Wolves, the Red Wolves are known for their savage combat style and their disregard for the rigid structure of the Codex Astartes, like their parent chapter. Based on the icy world of Fenris, they share the feral nature and traditions of the Space Wolves, though they operate as their own distinct chapter. They utilize the regular arms and armor of Space Marines, though they prefer close combat weapons like frost axes and power swords. Their power armor is adorned with red wolf motifs, symbolizing their connection to the legendary wolves of Fenris. The The Red Wolves are known for their aggressive hit-and-run tactics, much like their Space Wolves brethren. They often launch brutal frontal assaults, tearing through enemy lines with savage efficiency. Their lore is filled with stories of their independence and ferocity, with many legends highlighting their willingness to defy Imperial orders if it conflicts with their own sense of honor and loyalty to Fenris. Relictors. Now, coming to a chapter with a dark and controversial history, and known for their willingness to use the weapons of chaos against the enemies of the Imperium. This has earned them the suspicion of other Space Marine chapters and the scrutiny of the Inquisition. Despite their questionable methods, the Relictors maintain that their use of chaos artifacts is solely for the purpose of defeating the enemies of mankind. In terms of equipment, the Relictors use standard Space Marine war gear, but they're also known to wield demonic weapons and other chaos-infused artifacts, which they believe give them an edge in battle. Their power armor is painted in dark grey and black, reflecting their grim nature. The Relictors employ unconventional tactics, often using the very powers of chaos against their foes. Their lore is tied to their ongoing struggle to walk the fine line between loyalty to the Emperor and the corrupting influence of chaos. Legends of the Relictors are filled with stories of their dark deeds and their battles against both the enemies of the Imperium and the Inquisition itself. Angels of Defiance. The Angels of Defiance are a Dark Angels successor chapter known for their resilience and determination. Like their parent chapter, they're tasked with hunting down the fallen, though the Angels of Defiance are even more resolute in this mission, often sacrificing their own survival to ensure that the traitors are brought to justice. Their chapter's motto is Defiance in the Face of Darkness, reflecting their unyielding commitment to the Emperor. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, with a preference for plasma weaponry. Their power armor is painted in a deep regal purple, symbolizing their nobility and their defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. The Angels of Defiance are known for their ability to hold their line against seemingly impossible odds, refusing to retreat no matter the cost. Their lore is filled with stories of their defiance and their willingness to endure any hardship to achieve victory. Legends of the chapter often portray them as unbreakable warriors, willing to sacrifice everything in pursuit of their duty to the Emperor. Angels of Damnation. Now this one is a mysterious chapter, known for their grim nature and their obsession with hunting down heretics and traitors. Though their origins are unclear, it's believed that they're a successor chapter of the Dark Angels, sharing their parent chapter's dark secrets and relentless pursuit of justice. The Angels of Damnation are feared for their brutal methods, often conducting purges that leave no survivors. Their arsenal consists of the usual Space Marine weaponry, though they favor power swords and plasma weaponry for close combat engagements. Their power armor is painted in black and red, symbolizing their dark purpose and their willingness to do whatever it takes to eliminate the enemies of the Imperium. The Angels of Damnation are known for their ruthless tactics, often conducting scorched earth campaigns to ensure that no heretic or traitor escapes their wrath. Their lore is centered around their grim determination to rid the galaxy of corruption, and many legends speak of their merciless purges and their willingness to sacrifice entire worlds to root out heresy. They're seen as one of the most feared and relentless chapters in the Imperium. Angels of Fire. Let's take a closer look at the chapter known for their fiery temper and their preference for flame-based weaponry. Formed during one of the later foundings, the Angels of Fire have earned a reputation for their aggressive combat style and their willingness to burn entire cities to the ground in order to purge heresy and xenos threats. Their chapter is believed to have close ties to the Salamanders, as both share a fascination with flame and purification. They're decked out with the standard Space Marine kit, but the Angels of Fire make extensive use of flamers, melter weapons, and other incendiary devices. Their power armor is painted in bright red and orange, symbolizing their connection to fire and destruction. The Angels of Fire favor aggressive close-quarters tactics, using their flame-based weaponry to incinerate their enemies. Their lore is centered around their belief that fire is the ultimate purifier, and many legends speak of their campaigns to cleanse entire planets of heresy. The Angels of Fire are seen as a brutal but necessary force in the Imperium, willing to burn everything in order to save it. Angels of Fury. The Angels of Fury are a successor chapter of the Blood Angels, known for their berserker rage and their uncontrollable bloodlust in battle. Like their parent chapter, the Angels of Fury suffer from the Red Thirst, a genetic flaw that drives them into a frenzy during combat. This makes them one of the most feared and unpredictable chapters in the Imperium, as their battle rage often leads them to fight without regard for their own survival. They rely on the customary tools of the Space Marines, but they prefer close combat weapons like chainswords and power fists, which allow them to tear through their enemies in a bloody rampage. Their power armor is painted a deep crimson, symbolizing their connection to blood and violence. The Angels of Fury are known for their frenzied charges and their willingness to sacrifice themselves in order to achieve victory. Their lore is filled with stories of their berserk fury and their struggle to control the Red Thirst, with many legends highlighting their battles against both the enemies of the Imperium and their own inner demons. Despite their flaws, the Angels of Fury remain loyal to the Emperor, using their rage to fuel their relentless pursuit of victory. Angels of Penance. Believed to be a successor chapter of the Dark Angels, the Angels of Penance are known for their self-punishing behavior and their willingness to endure the most grueling and dangerous missions in the Imperium's name. Their chapter's motto, Suffer for the Emperor, reflects their belief that only through pain and sacrifice can they atone for their sins. They utilize the typical gear of Space Marines, though they often adorn their power armor with chains and other symbols of penance. Their armor is painted in dark, muted tones, reflecting their somber and repentant nature. The Angels of Penance are known for their suicidal charges and their willingness to endure extreme hardship in the name of the Emperor. Their lore is filled with stories of their self-inflicted suffering, with many legends depicting them as tragic figures who believe that only through death in service to the Emperor can they find redemption. The Angels of Penance are seen as martyrs, willing to sacrifice everything to atone for their sins. Angels of Vigilance. This chapter is dedicated to protecting the Imperium's borders from xenos incursions and chaos threats. Formed during one of the later foundings, the Angels of Vigilance have earned a reputation for their tireless watchfulness and their willingness to stand guard over the most dangerous regions of the galaxy. Their chapter is known for its strict discipline and its unyielding sense of duty. Their gear reflects the typical loadout of Space Marines, with a preference for long-range weaponry such as bolters and heavy artillery. The power armor is painted in dark blue, symbolizing their connection to the Void and their role as vigilant sentinels of the Imperium. The Angels of Vigilance excel in defensive operations, often holding the line against overwhelming odds to protect the Imperium's borders. Their lore is centered around their role as guardians of the Imperium, with many stories highlighting their ability to detect and repel threats before they can strike. Legends of the Angels of Vigilance often depict them as tireless sentinels, never resting as they watch over the Imperium's most vulnerable regions. Angels Penitent. They're defined by their need for atonement and their willingness to undertake the most dangerous and difficult missions in the name of the Emperor. Like many Dark Angel successor chapters, the Angels Penitent believe that they're cursed by their genetic heritage, and they seek to cleanse this stain through acts of penance and sacrifice. Their weapons and gear match the Space Marines, though they frequently modify their power armor with chains, skulls, and other symbols of penitence. Their armor is painted in dark grey, reflecting their somber and repentant nature. In battle, the Angels Penitent are known for their suicidal bravery, often throwing themselves into hopeless situations in order to prove their worth to the Emperor. Their lore is filled with stories of sacrifice and martyrdom, with many legends depicting the Angels Penitent as tragic figures who believe that only through death can they find redemption. Despite their flaws, they remain loyal to the Imperium, fighting with relentless determination to cleanse their souls. Angels Porphyr. Let's talk about a lesser-known chapter which was formed during one of the later foundings. They're known for their deep connection to the Imperial faith, often acting as enforcers of religious orthodoxy within the Imperium. The Angels Porphyr are fiercely loyal to the ecclesiarchy, and they're often deployed to crush heretical movements and enforce the will of the Emperor across the galaxy. They roll with the regular gear Space Marines are known for, though they frequently carry religious icons and other symbols of the Imperial faith. Their power armor is painted in a striking violet, symbolizing their devotion to the Emperor and the ecclesiarchy. The Angels Porphyr excel in purging heretics and xenos, often conducting religious crusades to cleanse entire worlds of corruption. Their lore is steeped in religious zeal, with many stories highlighting their willingness to die in the service of the Emperor's divine will. Legends of the Angels Porphyr often depict them as holy warriors, fighting to preserve the purity of the Imperium's faith at all costs. Angels Redeemed. The Angels Redeemed are a Dark Angel successor chapter formed during the Second Founding. Like many of their brethren, they're tasked with hunting down the Fallen, the traitors who turned against the Imperium during the Horus Heresy. The Angels Redeemed are particularly focused on redemption, believing that only through the capture or destruction of the Fallen can they cleanse the stain of heresy from their chapter's history. They utilize the typical gear of Space Marines, with a preference for plasma weaponry and power swords. Their power armor is painted in a regal purple and white, symbolizing their belief in their own purity and their quest for redemption. The Angels Redeemed are known for their relentless pursuit of the Fallen, often launching crusades deep into enemy territory to hunt down these traitors. Their lore is tied to their belief in redemption, with many legends speaking of their willingness to sacrifice everything to atone for the sins of their ancestors. The Angels Redeemed are seen as fanatical warriors, driven by their need to cleanse their chapter's history of heresy. Angels Revenant. Known for their ghostly appearance and their mysterious connection to the Warp, Angels Revenant formed during one of the later foundings. The Angels Revenant are believed to have suffered some form of Warp-related mutation, giving them an otherworldly aura on the battlefield. Despite this, they remain loyal to the Emperor and continue to serve the Imperium with unwavering dedication. They make use of the conventional tools and weapons of Space Marines, while often modifying their armor with Warp-related symbols and other arcane markings. Their power armor is painted in spectral shades of grey and blue, giving them an ethereal appearance on the battlefield. The Angels Revenant excel in shock assaults and ambushes, often using their ghostly appearance to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Their lore is filled with stories of their mysterious origins and their ability to walk between the material world and the warp, with many legends highlighting their otherworldly powers. Despite their strange appearance, the Angels Revenant remain steadfast in their loyalty to the Emperor. Angels Vermilion, known for their crimson-colored power armor and their deep connection to the blood rituals of their parent chapter, the Angels Vermilion are a Blood Angel successor. Like the Blood Angels, the Angels Vermilion are afflicted by the Red Thirst, a genetic flaw that drives them into uncontrollable bloodlust in battle. This makes them one of the most dangerous and unpredictable chapters in the Imperium. Their gear matches what Space Marines normally carry, though they favor close combat weapons like chainsaws and power axes, which allow them to unleash their bloodlust in the heat of battle. Their power armor is painted in a rich blood-red hue, symbolizing their connection to violence and death. The Angels Vermilion are known for their berserker rage and their willingness to sacrifice themselves in order to achieve victory. Their lore is filled with stories of their battle fury and their struggle to control the Red Thirst, with many legends highlighting their battles against both the enemies of the Imperium and their own inner demons. Despite their flaws, the Angels Vermilion remain loyal to the Emperor, using their bloodlust to fuel their relentless pursuit of victory. Angels Resplendent, known for their beauty and grace. Angels Resplendent set them apart from most other Space Marines. They were once a proud and noble chapter, but their story took a dark turn. The chapter was heavily influenced by art and aesthetics, which led them to focus on perfection in all aspects of their existence. However, this obsession ultimately led to the chapter's downfall, resulting in a schism that tore them apart. Their equipment, like their chapter, is ornate and beautifully crafted, with intricate designs and decorations. The Angels Resplendent favored a variety of weapons, though they placed great emphasis on precision and elegance, often using swords and plasma weapons. Their power armor is strikingly beautiful, reflecting their belief in aesthetic perfection. The Angels Resplendent fought with grace and precision, using fluid movements and well-timed strikes to overwhelm their enemies. Their lore is tragic, as their pursuit of perfection drove them to madness, leading to the formation of the Angels Penitent, a splinter group formed from the chapter's survivors. Despite their beauty, the fall of the Angels Resplendent serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of obsession. Astral Hawks. Next on our list are a chapter that specializes in lightning-fast assaults and high-mobility warfare. They're known for their tactical flexibility and their ability to strike quickly and decisively. Formed during the 26th founding, the Astral Hawks have earned a reputation for their expertise in hit-and-run tactics, often engaging enemies before disappearing into the void as quickly as they arrived. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, but the Astral Hawks favor jump packs and fast vehicles like land speeders and assault bikes to maintain their mobility. Their power armor is painted in bright yellow and white, symbolizing their speed and their connection to the stars. The Astral Hawks excel in rapid strikes, often using their mobility to outmaneuver larger, slower forces. Their lore is filled with stories of daring raids and lightning assaults that crippled enemy forces before they could respond. Legends speak of the Astral Hawks as masters of mobility, always appearing where they're least expected and disappearing before their enemies can retaliate. Astral Hounds. Formed during the 21st founding, the Astral Hounds are believed to be descended from the White Scars, sharing their parent chapter's love of speed and aggression. They're a chapter known for their ferocity in battle and their relentless pursuit of enemies. The Astral Hounds are relentless hunters, often pursuing their enemies across vast distances to bring them to justice. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, though they favor bikes and other fast-moving vehicles to track down their enemies. Their power armor is painted in black and silver, giving them a fearsome appearance on the battlefield. The Astral Hounds rely on speed and ferocity to overwhelm their enemies, often launching brutal charges that break enemy lines. Their lore is filled with stories of their hunts, with many legends depicting them as unstoppable predators who never give up the chase. The Astral Hounds are feared throughout the galaxy for their tenacity and their willingness to pursue their enemies to the ends of the galaxy. Astral Knights. For the next one, we have Astral Knights. They're best known for their heroic sacrifice during the Battle of the Crown World of Badab, where they faced off against the Necron World Engine. The chapter's legacy is defined by this act of ultimate bravery, where the Astral Knights boarded the Necron superweapon and disabled it from within, saving countless Imperial worlds. Tragically, the entire chapter was wiped out during this mission, cementing their place in history as martyrs of the Imperium. Their equipment, at the time of their last stand, was standard Space Marine war gear, including wielding bolters, power swords, and melter weapons. Their power armor was painted in a striking blue and silver pattern, reflecting their connection to the stars and their noble sacrifice. The Astral Knights' combat style was one of bravery and selflessness, always placing the needs of the Imperium above their own survival. Their lore is centered around their final sacrifice, and they're remembered as one of the most selfless chapters in the Imperium. The story of the Astral Knights serves as an enduring reminder of the sacrifices that Space Marines make to protect humanity. Atlantean Spears. They're a chapter known for their martial prowess and their expertise in melee combat. Hailing from the oceanic world of Atlantis, they draw much of their culture and fighting style from their homeworld's traditions. The Atlantean Spears are known for their honor-bound code of conduct and their preference for fighting with spears and other melee weapons. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, though they make extensive use of spears and other polearms in close combat. Their power armor is painted in deep blue and gold, reflecting their connection to the ocean and their noble traditions. The Atlantean Spears excel in close quarters engagements, using their skill with spears to overwhelm their enemies in brutal melee combat. Their lore is centered around their warrior culture and their strict code of honor, with many legends depicting them as noble warriors who fight with grace and precision. The Atlantean Spears are seen as paragons of martial virtue, always upholding the honor of their chapter in battle. Auric Patricians. Oh, to be steeped in wealth and tradition. Auric Patricians are known for their noble heritage and their close ties to the aristocracy of the Imperium. Formed during the 21st founding, the Auric Patricians see themselves as the defenders of the Imperium's elite, often serving as the personal protectors of high-ranking Imperial officials. They're known for their regal appearance and their performance for highly decorated armor and weapons. Their arsenal is stocked with the expected Space Marine weapons, though their war gear is often adorned with gold and jewels, reflecting their noble status. Their power armor is painted in white and gold, symbolizing their wealth and their role as protectors of the Imperium's nobility. The Auric Patricians are highly disciplined, favoring defensive tactics and strategic use of firepower to protect their charges. Their lore is filled with stories of their service to the Imperium's elite, with many legends highlighting their loyalty to the aristocracy. Despite their focus on protecting the rich and powerful, the Auric Patricians remain loyal to the Emperor, seeing their service as a divine duty. Avengers. The Avengers are a chapter known for their righteous fury and their dedication to justice. I mean, if you're named the Avengers, you gotta be fighting the good fight. Formed during the 21st founding, the Avengers see themselves as the Emperor's sword, tasked with delivering swift retribution to the enemies of the Imperium. They're relentless in their pursuit of justice, often launching crusades to punish heretics, traitors, and xenos. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, with a preference for close combat weapons like power swords and thunder hammers. Their power armor is painted in deep red and silver, symbolizing their role as the Emperor's Avengers. The Avengers are known for their aggressive tactics and their willingness to engage the enemy in brutal hand-to-hand combat. Their lore is centered around their belief in justice, with many legends depicting them as unwavering warriors who fight to right the wrongs of the galaxy. The Avengers are seen as one of the most righteous chapters in the Imperium, always seeking to bring justice to those who have betrayed the Emperor. Black Consuls. The Black Consuls are a chapter with a long and proud history, having been formed during the Second Founding. As descendants of the Ultramarines, the Black Consuls follow the teachings of the Codex Astartes with great discipline, ensuring that the chapter operates with precision and efficiency. They're known for their strict adherence to Gillman's doctrines and their role as defenders of the Imperium's core worlds. Their arsenal sticks to the usual Space Marine template, with a focus on bolter tactics and heavy firepower. Their power armor is painted in black and white, symbolizing their purity of purpose and their dedication to order. The Black Consuls excel in defensive operations, often holding key positions against overwhelming odds. Their lore is filled with stories of their disciplined defense of the Imperium's heartlands, with many legends highlighting their ability to hold the line in the face of impossible odds. The Black Consuls are seen as paragons of the Codex Astartes, always following its teachings to the letter. Black Inculpators. Moving on to the Black Inculpators, who are a secretive and shadowy chapter, known for their covert operations and their willingness to do whatever it takes to protect the Imperium from internal threats. Formed during one of the later foundings, the Black Inculpators specialize in assassinations, sabotage, and other clandestine activities. They're often deployed to eliminate high-value targets or to suppress insurrections before they can gain momentum. Their loadout is consistent with typical Space Marine armaments, though they often make use of silenced weapons and camo cloaks to enhance their stealth capabilities. Their power armor is painted in jet black, allowing them to blend into the shadows. The Black Inculpators operate with surgical precision, often striking from the shadows before disappearing without a trace. Their lore is filled with stories of their covert missions, with many legends depicting them as ghostly figures who appear only long enough to eliminate their targets. The Black Inculpators are one of the most secretive chapters in the Imperium, operating in the shadows to protect humanity from within. Black Swords. Now we're talking about the Black Swords, who are a chapter known for their fierce devotion to the Emperor and their willingness to sacrifice everything in battle. Formed during the 21st founding, the Black Swords see themselves as the Emperor's chosen warriors, tasked with cutting down the enemies of humanity with ruthless efficiency. They're known for their aggressive combat style and their preference for close combat engagements. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, though they favor power swords and other bladed weapons. Their power armor is painted in black and silver, symbolizing their role as the Emperor's executioners. The Black Swords are known for their relentless charges, often throwing themselves into the thick of battle with little regard for their own survival. Their lore is centered around their belief that they're the Emperor's chosen blades, with many legends depicting them as warriors who fight with divine purpose. Black Swords are seen as one of the most aggressive and fearless chapters in the Imperium, always seeking to cut down the enemies of humanity. Black Talons. Next in line, we have a chapter with a reputation for precision and ruthlessness. Formed during one of the later foundings, Black Talons are known for their surgical strikes and their focus on eliminating high-value targets with minimal collateral damage. The Black Talons operate in a cold and calculating manner, often being deployed in situations that require quick, decisive action. Their equipment includes standard Space Marine war gear, though they make extensive use of sniper rifles and other long-range weapons. Their power armor is painted in black and silver, with Talon motifs reflecting their name and their deadly precision. The Black Talons excel in tactical flexibility, using stealth and long-range attacks to neutralize their enemies before engaging in close combat if necessary. Their lore is filled with stories of their efficient takedowns and their ability to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Legends often portray the Black Talons as merciless hunters, never missing their mark and always returning victorious from their missions. Black Vultures. The Black Vultures are a nomadic chapter, constantly on the move and operating far from the Imperium's core worlds. They're known for scavenging the battlefields after engagements, repurposing equipment and resources to sustain their chapter. The Black Vultures are pragmatic warriors, often taking what they need from their enemies to ensure their survival. They're sporting the typical Space Marines loadout, though much of it is scavenged or repaired from previous battles. Their power armor is painted in dark black with red accents, symbolizing their predatory nature and their ability to adapt to any situation. The Black Vultures rely on their resourcefulness, often using guerrilla tactics and ambushes to take down larger, more powerful foes. Their lore revolves around their nomadic lifestyle and their ability to thrive in the harshest environments. Many legends depict them as opportunistic warriors, always ready to strike when the time is right and take what they need to survive. Blades of Vengeance, a chapter driven by a sense of justice and retribution and formed during the 23rd founding. Blades of Vengeance see themselves as the Emperor's enforcers, tasked with bringing justice to the enemies of the Imperium. They're known for their unyielding dedication to their mission and their willingness to pursue their enemies to the ends of the galaxy. They bear the typical loadout of a fully equipped Space Marine, with a focus on power swords and other melee weapons, reflecting their name and their preference for close quarters combat. Their power armor is painted in black and gold, symbolizing their role as the Emperor's vengeful warriors. The Blades of Vengeance are relentless, often launching crusades to hunt down traitors, heretics, and xenos. Their lore is centered around their belief in justice and their desire to punish those who have wronged the Imperium. Legends of the Blades of Vengeance often depict them as tireless avengers, willing to fight to the death to see justice served. Blazoned Legion. Known for their flamboyant and ostentatious style, the Blazoned Legion was formed during the 26th founding. The Blazoned Legion takes great pride in their appearance and their martial prowess, often decorating their armor and weapons with intricate designs and heraldry. Despite their focus on aesthetics, the Blazoned Legion is a highly effective fighting force, known for their discipline and precision in battle. Their armaments are the typical selection for Space Marines, though their armor and weapons are often adorned with gold, jewels, and intricate designs. Their power armor is painted in red and gold, reflecting their regal nature and their desire to make a statement on the battlefield. The Blazoned Legion is known for their discipline and their ability to execute complex strategies with precision. Their lore is filled with stories of their martial skill and their desire to stand out as paragons of the Emperor's vision. Legends often highlight their duels with powerful enemies, where their skill and flamboyant style make them both feared and respected. Blood Drinkers. Moving on to a Blood Angel successor chapter, afflicted by the same genetic flaws as their parent chapter, including the Red Thirst. However, unlike many of their brethren, the Blood Drinkers have developed a ritualized method of managing the Red Thirst, drinking the blood of their enemies in a controlled manner to stave off the genetic flaw's worst effects. They carry the customary war gear of a Space Marine, with a preference for close combat weapons like chainswords and power axes. Their power armor is painted in deep red, reflecting their connection to blood and their role as warriors of death. death. The Blood-Drinkers are known for their ferocity, often launching into berserk charges that overwhelm their enemies. Their lore revolves around their struggle with the red thirst and their ritualistic methods of controlling it. Legends of the Blood-Drinkers highlight their ability to channel their bloodlust into disciplined combat, making them one of the most dangerous and effective chapters in the Imperium. Blood Swords. They are a chapter known for their martial skill and their preference for dueling. Formed during the 21st founding, the Blood Swords have earned a reputation for their love of personal combat, often seeking out the strongest enemies to challenge in single combat. Their chapter culture revolves around honor, skill, and the belief that victory in combat is the ultimate proof of worth. They make use of the ordinary Space Marine armament, though they favor power swords and other bladed weapons in battle. Their power armor is painted in crimson red, symbolizing their connection to blood and their love of combat. Blood Swords often seek out enemy champions, engaging them in duels to prove their superiority. Their lore is centered around their belief in the sanctity of personal combat, with many legends depicting their warriors as master duelists who defeat even the most powerful foes. The Blood Swords are seen as one of the most honorable and skilled chapters in the Imperium, always seeking to prove themselves in battle. Brotherhood of 1,000. Formed during one of the later foundings, the Brotherhood of 1,000 believes that only through unity and cooperation can the Imperium survive the countless threats it faces. They're known for their strong bonds of camaraderie and their willingness to fight together as one. Their loadout follows the common Space Marine armament, with a focus on bolter tactics and coordinated firepower. Their power armor is painted in blue and gold, symbolizing their unity and their role as defenders of the Imperium. The Brotherhood of 1,000 excels in coordinated attacks, often working together to overwhelm their enemies with disciplined firepower. Their lore is centered around their belief in the power of unity, with many stories highlighting their ability to work as a cohesive force. Legends of the Brotherhood of 1,000 often depict them as warriors who fight as one, always placing the needs of the chapter above their own individual glory. Carmine Blades. Next up, we have Carmine Blades, a chapter which was formed during the 21st founding. The Carmine Blades are known for their unique blood rites, which they believe grant them strength and protection in battle. These rites often involve the spilling of blood, both of their enemies and their own, to honor the Emperor and the fallen warriors of their chapter. Their armory holds the usual assortment of Space Marine gear, though they often decorate their weapons with blood-red runes and symbols. Their power armor is painted in crimson, symbolizing their connection to blood and the sacred rites they perform. The Carmine Blades are known for their brutal efficiency, often using their blood rites to fuel their combat prowess. Their lore is filled with stories of their blood rituals and the power they believe it grants them, with many legends highlighting their ability to tap into their primal instincts to achieve victory. The Carmine Blades are seen as both fearsome and reverent warriors who honor the Emperor through bloodshed. Castellans of the Rift. Last, but definitely not the least, the Castellans of the Rift. They're a chapter known for their role as defenders of the Imperium's borders. Formed during the 26th founding, the Castellans of the Rift are tasked with guarding the vulnerable regions of the Imperium, often standing watch over distant star systems and protecting them from xenos incursions and chaos invasions. They're known for their unwavering dedication to their duty and their ability to hold the line against overwhelming odds. Their arsenal is the usual mix found in Space Marine ranks, with a focus on defensive tactics and heavy weaponry. Their power armor is painted in dark blue and gold, symbolizing their role as stalwart defenders of the Imperium. The Castellans of the Rift are known for their ability to hold key positions, often standing firm against enemies who vastly outnumber them. Their lore is centered around their role as protectors of the Imperium's most vulnerable regions, with many legends highlighting their ability to stand against the tide of invaders. The Castellans of the Rift are seen as unbreakable warriors, always standing firm in defense of the Imperium. And that's a wrap on our epic journey through the galaxy's most legendary Space Marine chapters. From their badass origins to their insane combat skills, these warriors are the true backbone of the Imperium. Whether they're smashing xenos or fighting off the forces of chaos, they always bring the heat. If you had a blast exploring these chapters with me, well, don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for even more awesome Warhammer 40k content. Thanks for hanging out, and remember, stay fearless, and may the Emperor have your back. Catch you in the next one.